All right. So I believe we are recording. Yeah, we are recording. So, all right. So once again, I'll go over what our rules of engagement are. Basically, to put everything on mute for right now, we will go through and ask everybody to speak. Be respectful to one another. Basically, you know, keep our conversations and the responses we have as short as possible, respecting each other's time. And the three things that we're trying to come up with this week and that we want to touch on are, once again, what is our vision for this group? Try to keep it to 1 to 2 sentences. 2 is have 5 to 6 core values of what you think should be the attitude of us and everybody in the group. And what is our focus for the group? What is it that we want to keep focus on, so that as we are moving forward, when we may be enticed to turn to the left or turn to the right, that we may know we'll have a guide there that teaches us and shows us what is it that we're going to use to whether to make a decision whether or not this is a good choice for us. So as long as we have something that we're focused on, we can put something before us and say, okay, does this meet our focus? You know, is this the direction that we're supposed to be going? Is this what we're looking after? And if it is, then boom, we'll add it in. And if it's not, then we'll set that to the side. But this helps us to move forward. And for those of us who have been reading the book Tractions, which we're trying to do as a group, it goes in depth in this. The best part about this is that this is not just for this group. It is something that's good for your businesses as well. It's not just good for startups, but even for those of us who have been in business. One of the things that it does in the first chapter or so is helps you to do an evaluation of your business and find out where you're at. And I didn't fare as well as I had hoped I would. And so, which is a good thing, because one of the things that I always try to do is continue to improve. So with that being said, and we also have Lewis Parker, who had something that he wanted to propose to the group, and he will get on later on. And he did a live thing a couple of days ago for those that saw it, and he'll give a brief explanation as to what it is, and then we'll go into questions on that also. So my vision for the group is to basically to have a group that comes together that utilizes all of our abilities, all of our businesses, and to be able to take that out there to the communities, to each of our communities, and be able to promote healthy food and healthy living for our communities. So that is my vision for this. And I know that, you know, we are spread out, but the thing is, I want to be able to produce that and be able to duplicate that in each community. My 5 core values. One is legacy. Is one of the values that I have is legacy. And legacy is something that you pass down for generations. So I want this to not just be it's about me type thing, that it's just something that I want to pass down, not just for my family, but for our people in the future. 2, the second core value is health. I want our stuff to be health-minded. I believe that all of our issues come from health, even in our community. When our minds and our bodies are unhealthy, that makes us act in unhealthy ways. Most of us, when we're sick, hurt, even the people that we love, we can be short and mean-spirited to each other. And so I believe that our health plays a lot with how we treat each other in our community. So when we get our health up, then I think that would also help attitudes that we have toward each other in our community. Integrity is another thing that I have as a core value. I believe that we should say what we mean and mean what we say, not be spiteful in it, but be truthful in it. As my mother used to, has always taught me, that there's nothing worse than a liar or a thief, because you can't trust either one. And so that's where integrity comes with me, be truthful and be trustworthy. The fourth one is community. Believe in our community, that we are all a community, just like we're all in one nation. I feel that if we can root for our nation, if we can root for a football team or whatever it is, and be in many places, we can also root for each other regardless of where we're at. And the last thing is working together. That should be a core value that we should have, I feel, on my list, is that we should be always working together towards a common goal. My main focus is building a community that is healthy and utilizing group efforts to make it profitable for all. And so that is my focus, is to build a community that is healthy and utilizing group efforts, making it profitable for all. So that is where I'm at right now. So, and I'm just going to go through, and we'll go with Parker Lewis. You want to step up to the mic? Okay.
Greetings, family. I'm going to try to go through mine really quick. I am a bit long-winded sometimes. So my vision for the group is to effectively define, develop, and distribute group farming economics and group health economics within our immediate communities, and then to present them to our communal society as a whole. To do this, I believe that there are a number of values. This was hard for me, but my wife sat down and we came up with holism, basically meaning whole. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Vitalism, meaning a sound system is one that can maintain itself, especially being engaged on the basis that life is not solely dependent on physical and chemical. Basically meaning that there is something outside of all of us that gives us this vitality. Sustainability, any system that perpetuates itself. Environmentally friendly, does not destroy.
Hi, goodness.
One of my personal focuses within these is education, and giving that all knowledge.
Did you have a bath? Did she have a bath?
Okay, can we get everybody to mute their microphones, please? Thank you.
Self-sufficiency, basically being autonomous in self-evaluation. We do not determine our value based on others, especially oppressors' evaluation systems, including but not limited to fiat systems, specifically the dollar, and interdependency, where we depend on each other, solely for our survival and thrival, as I put it. My main focus is the fact that the work is plenty, but the laborers are few. I am a sustainability sojourner, meaning I will travel to labor for you. Those are my things.
All right, that is great. Thank you very much. We'll go to Edward. Are you ready? I saw you there a second ago, and if not, we'll go to the Master Grow Gang. Oh, hold on, we got Edward there. Go ahead, Edward.
I don't know what they're doing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just leaving the clinic right now, so I apologize. So I was in and out of the meeting. I'm walking outside right now, so if you kind of update me, I know I'm kind of messing up the flow, but if you kind of update me as far as what we're doing right now. I know we're talking about some core values and
Yeah, we're
vision
talking
for
about vision, 4 or 5 core values, and what our focus is.
Okay.
What you believe those to be?
Okay. So as far as this group and what we're doing, our mission as it pertains to health, that's really where I'm kind of falling in at, dealing with medical issues, fitness, also nutrition. What I've been saying and beating the drum and saying is that it's time for us to redefine and reassess a lot of things as it pertains to health versus sickness.
That much, Mr. Craig.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I believe, Gabrielle, if you could mute your microphone.
Edward, his younger days on his motorcycle. Oh. I found a video.
Go ahead, Edward.
Right. Yeah. So it's time for us to reassess and redefine our definitions as it pertains to health versus sickness. Many of our ideas and the way we look at health comes from really a Western philosophy, European model. We have to remember that these things weren't developed based around us. They were not developed based on our actual genetic makeups and composition. And the analogy that I usually use is if you go to a zoo, there's a lot we can learn from nature. If you were to go to a zoo and you find the polar bear and then you find the brown bear or the black bear, you're going to see something very unique. The zookeeper would never keep the polar bear in a type of environment the way that he keeps the black bear or the brown bear. He makes sure that he tries to mimic their natural ecology, their natural environment as much as possible, because he understands that if he doesn't do that, then he's throwing away money. And so even with the diet, he makes sure that the polar bear is eaten differently from the actual brown bear, and he would never switch the two because they have different needs. Now, they're both bears, but there's some subtle differences. Those subtle differences can mean the world. It can mean life and death. And that's what we're experiencing a lot. When it comes to these quote unquote diseases running in our families, we need to understand that this is a toxic mantra. It's an affirmation. We are pretty much claiming disease and sickness. These preventable conditions do not run in our families. They do not run in our families. And so that's just kind of the idea behind redefining and reassessing our health states and our disease states. But also just getting the information out there. The way it's being presented to us right now is kind of like it's being presented in a way where we're kind of helpless. We're just kind of stuck with, just dealing with it, managing it. Yeah. Where the truth be told, these things that's why they're called preventable. And these things really couldn't be accomplished without the use of processed foods. And that's why you guys are so extremely important, because if we leave processed foods, I know for a fact overnight, we're talking about, we're talking about having a mass exodus outside of this healthcare system if we change what we're eating overnight, which that won't happen. So there's a lot of, work that has to be done. But nonetheless, we need those whole foods providers already in place. I understand that, you guys are facing a lot of adversity as far as being pushed out and, the available lands and everything like that. But that's really, where we come in. Our slogan is to aggressively inspire, radically improve the health conditions of our community. And I know we have what it takes, and it's the actual way to do it isn't as intimidating and as big as we think it is. It really comes to nutrition, fitness, and mindset.
All right. Anything else?
Sorry about the lighting. I'm sitting in this car.
Okay.
No, is there any questions as far as what else that I might need to fill in and say? Also, real quick.
Go ahead.
I saw that the brother Lewis was Gullah Geechee. I'm also Geechee as well, from Beaufort, South Carolina, born and raised. So when I heard him say Geechee, I was like, yo, what's up? I didn't get to finish watching the video, but I did catch that.
Yeah. He did have a little bit of technical difficulties, at least on my end.
Okay.
Toward the end. So yeah, we'll get him to finish that up and enlighten us on that also. Yeah, I first heard about the Geechees in Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier movie. I can't remember which one. It was a character named Geechee Dan,
Okay.
And so yeah, I said, who Geechee? Damn, let me go find this out. And so that's how I got enlightened to who they were.
He's from Buford too. Geechee Dan Buford.
Yeah. Yeah. Geechee Dan Buford. Yeah.
Yep.
So all right. So now we're gonna jump to the Master Grow people. Who we got here?
Greetings, everybody.
All right.
My name Quinn. I'm Quinn, one of the 5 members from the Master Grow game.
Okay.
This is my first time being here. You know, I missed the last meeting that you all had. I'm also new to the group.
Okay.
However, I did look at the video that Brother Parker had put up, and so what that was very interesting and enlightening, my ad. So as far as just me being in a group right now, I would like to listen and learn. As far as some core values, of course, the integrity and respect and helpfulness, you know, are huge. Something that I agree with, I concur with 100%. And I mean, my vision is to learn, and also myself to see how I can contribute to the benefit of our people, and you know, coming from this group. So you know, whatever I can do to offer my assistance and learning, I'm here.
All right. That sounds great. Where are you from?
Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit. Okay. That's a little north of me. It's cold here, so I know it's cold there.
Oh man, it's cold, but I'm used to it for sure. Where are you at?
I'm down here in Indiana, Southern Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that ain't too far from us too.
Yeah, that's not too far. We've come up here quite a bit. We got some family up there. So, all right. Anything else you got to say?
All right. Just thanks for having me. Thanks for having the group, and you know, I look forward to what's to come and how I can contribute.
All right.
Cool. Thank you.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Hey, we appreciate you. We'll give everybody an opportunity to ask Parker Lewis a little more, a few more questions after he gives his presentation. After we speak with everybody. See somebody. Original Folk 101. Are you there? Okay. All right. Well, then we'll go to Camilla. Yeah. Camilla?
I'm here. I don't have much to add on as far as vision and norms are concerned.
Okay.
Whatever the group decides, I support. So I'm just here to listen today and help out in any way I can going forward.
All right. Sounds good. That sounds good. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else to say, we'll move to Tamika. And I think I'm muted, Tamika, so let me unmute her. Tamika.
Hey. Oh, hello?
All right, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Hey, listen, sorry about that earlier. I didn't realize I was unmuted. I apologize.
No problem.
You know, I guess I'll have to echo what Camila said. I'm actually here just to kind of listen and support whatever the team decides on with respect to mission and vision. I really am passionate about trying to connect us all together, especially when it comes to our farmers and then our needs within our household for healthy produce and clean living. So however I can do that, I'm here to do it. I'm located in California.
Okay.
I don't think I said that last time that I was on the phone. So I just wanted to give a little bit of insight. Sometimes I'm a bit further from where everyone else is at, but I'm definitely here to help and see how we can connect us all. I think it's really important too. I know I've heard a lot of people talk about how our Black farmers are being squeezed out of the game, and I believe perhaps if we start to at least get the Black community to support our Black farmers in a better way by getting their products and making sure it's in every community, we have a chance to economically support each other too. So.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. So if you don't have anything else to add, we'll move on to Gabrielle.
Roger that.
Gabrielle, if you can unmute yourself. Okay. Can't hear anything from Gabrielle. John Mace, I see you're in the pack. You can you speak now?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Do you have anything toward the vision or core values or focus that you would like to add?
I agree with what everybody's been saying. The only thing that I wanted to add to it was about more like urban farming and self-sufficiency. One of the things that I would like to see is for people that can, if they, particularly like if they own their own house, of seeing people take advantage of their lawn instead of just, I think one of the big problems and it just with everybody is this over infatuation with having the perfect lawn and not using that to cultivate to try to be more self-sufficient, like similar to I think it was World War I when they had a lot of people had victory gardens,
right?
And so I think self-sufficiency in that way is important, and also one question that I do have is if you could go over like some of the basics of growing food, because I know like a little bit about having like I think it's I want to say it's like carbon, sodium, and phosphorus, and I was wondering if you could explain a little bit more about the right type of soil to grow that produces like the best yield, and also about like ways to have to test your soil if it's suitable for growing stuff.
Yeah. I'll touch on that just briefly. I'd like to do a in-depth discussion on that. I'm writing this down. But as far as your soil is concerned, one, it depends on what type of soil you have. Depends on what is needed for it to help it to grow. If you have sandy soil, of course, then you need to add some type of organic matter to it to help to retain the water. And if you have clay soil, then you need also something that you need to add to it. One, to help it to drain, and two, to help the roots to grow. And it depends on what soil you have as to what you need to have added to it. And there's places that you can go in each county to have your soil tested, and they will tell you exactly what you may need to add if that's what you're looking to do to add. So it's not one right or wrong. It depends on the soil that you have. The soil that we have 3 different places that we grow at here in the town that we live in, and each one of them, the soil is different. And so there's not one right or wrong way to say it. It has to be tested in order for you to know exactly what is needed. And so if you go ahead, somebody.
Yeah. Do you happen to know if there any place that's close to Louisville?
Yeah, I'm sure that there is. I will. If you're looking to get that information, I can inbox you where to go. There, that's the area that my son DeAnthony. That's what he does. Do you remember where he went to get his soil tested? Okay. Go ahead, Parker.
The extension office for USDA. That's where I go. It doesn't matter what state I've been in. That's where I usually start, and they'll have exactly who you need to talk to.
Yeah, and that.
Okay.
Most of the time, well, where we go to the place where they actually sell the the stuff that you need to put in the ground, and they're the ones that test it also. And like I said, I can get you that name, but yeah, if you can get with the USDA office, they can also guide you. There should be. I know in Kentucky, I know it's a little farther away from you, but I know Kentucky State does a lot of work with people all around, even in Louisville, as far as farming, and they should be able to also assist you in telling you exactly where to go in Louisville to get your soil tested.
All right then.
Okay. If that's it, we'll jump to Nish. You got anything you want to say? No? Okay. We'll jump to Leslie. Leslie, are you there? If you would unmute your mic. Hello? I see you've unmuted, but we can't hear you. You might turn your volume up if you can. Okay, it says I'm here, but something's wrong with your mic. Okay. All right. If there's anything that you would like to add to either the vision or the core values or the focus, go ahead and type that into the chat, and we'll have it, and we'll go from there. So thank you, and I'm gonna try one more time for Gabrielle. Gabrielle, are you there? If you are, please unmute your mic.
Hello.
All right. All right.
I'm doing. How y'all doing today?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Well, as for me, my core values is first is personal health. Then after that, it would be for my family, and then for the community. But I think the most important thing is that we have to learn to trust and talk to each other.
True.
After that foundation has been established and set down, I think then after that, then we'll be able to work together across state lines or whatever. Because I'm here in the state of Texas.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the middle of the country. So the main reason I decided to join the group was that it's more of a legacy thing for me too. My grandfather owns property, you know. I want to keep it in the family, and he used to, grow a lot of different types of vegetables and things like that. So since he has passed away, no one in the family has really taken the mantle to keep it going. So I saw this as a good opportunity to try to step somewhat into his shoes and try to not only move it on for my siblings and their children, but also for our community. And I'm glad to be a part of this group.
Okay. Well, hey, we're glad to have you here. And we are definitely looking forward to working together. Before I turn it over to Parker Lewis, I just want to state that one, I do have a couple guys from the USDA who I'm trying to coordinate to see if I can get them in for a conversation next week. So if you got any questions about any of their programs or anything, I would suggest you go to their website and just look through some of the things that they have just to familiarize yourself with it. But within the next week or so, I hope to have them on to talk to us about how they can assist us in doing what we're looking at doing. Probably have them one week, and then at some other time have the rural and urban development, because we can work with them also on building up markets and storefronts for us to do what we're talking about doing.
Okay,
So,
that sounds good.
we're going to try to work this out, and we need to do this everywhere. Our hope is to duplicate stuff. With that, let me jump down here. I see that Leslie has put up something. She said that she agrees with the core values that we stated. She also agrees with what Gabrielle's speaking on too. She is a part of the Master Growth Gang, and she's here to listen, learn, and support the grow in whatever way she's able to do. I believe in eating right, exercising, being healthy, and I stand on us coming together and to begin to produce healthier and affordable foods for our communities. All right. Well, that is awesome. I believe that we've touched on everybody. And so what we're going to do right now, we're going to take this information, we're going to try to compile it and try to come up with a ideal out of all the things that we've said, to just kind of have, what is our vision, what is our what our core values are as a group, and what our focus is as a group, and then we'll go forward. See that Edward has got his hand raised, so go ahead, Edward, unmute yourself, and what you got?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so I'm still driving, but one big thing, large thing I forgot to mention is that another vision I have for our community is, I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the Health Share, but if you have some time, Google Health Share. There's a couple of health sharing models out there right now, Liberty Share, and then there's a couple other. Essentially what it is, it's a group of people who come together on a monthly basis, and depending on your household size, that's how much you're going to pay into it. Now, what happens with that money is that money is now allocated to take care of your neighbor's health expense. So if they have to go to the urgent care or the ER or whatever like that, so it kind of replaces health insurance. It's not health insurance per se, but it does meet the regulations to be exempt from that fee. Now, the thing that's so powerful about this is because you don't have to worry about an actual network, but also it's based on the actual people and it's based on the community. So we would actually be the ones who would set the standards as far as the motivation for the actual practitioners. So if right now with the healthcare system, they start with their end goal in mind, which is profit. Well, we can start with our end goal in mind for our own health share, which would be the actual overall improvement of the community. So the practitioners who we send our people to or who they go to, their motivation would be to actually reverse whatever condition, actually improve the condition versus just managing them. Plus, our people have the actual comfort and in knowing that the people that they're going to actually see, they're being taken care of by their own people, you know, but also that they don't have to do the whole runaround with the insurance, where you pay this, where you pay that. I actually have, I have my, it's not insurance, but let's say, just say insurance for lack of a better word. But my health share is with Liberty Health Share. And I was reading through their book as far as their values and their morals and everything like that. And I was blown away because essentially a collection of people just taking care of their neighbors. That's essentially what it is. They cut out the government, they cut out everybody. And they just said, hey, 100 of us. So, I mean, they're a larger group, more than 100, but essentially what it is just 100 people got together and say, every single month, if I have 4 people in my house, I'll pay $400 a month versus $1,000 and some odd dollars a month. And then if Bob or Tyrone or whoever like that has to go to the hospital, we'll each get to help out that person by allocating that money to that person. So just now, before I left work, I looked at my health share and I saw that I helped, when I paid my $400 some odd that month for my family of 5, I saw that a portion of it went to go help out this husband and wife who had something go down in their family. So I can actually send them a letter saying, hey, I hope everything's good. Or, but everybody who's in that health share, we have to actually agree on the morals and the values. Right. So my proposal would be for us to create one, come together and create one. The name that I had in mind was COTAD, which stands for Children of the Transatlantic Diaspora. and we all come together, come up with core values like we're doing right now, and we agree on those core values. Anybody who is involved in the health share agrees to the progression of the Black community. We agreed to this, we agreed to that, and we essentially empower ourselves, and we get out, because we need to get out of the healthcare system. As far as the insurances and all those things go, you know, I don't know if people know this, but I'm sorry to break the news to you, but this has really become a modern day trap house. You know, that's just what it is. And everything's about profit. If you ask a doctor who's going to be blunt and honest with you as far as what the overall goal of the healthcare system is, they're going to tell you profit. It is profit. So we need to get out of it. And you know, HBAM, Health by Any Means Necessary, you know, what we've been doing is trying to be the usher for this mass exodus, but into our own system, our own ideas, our own system, and our own way of caring for each other.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tamika.
Yeah, I just had a question. Hey, is there any way, Edward, we are able to connect that to blackdoctors.org, like literally have our own directory of doctors, and then of course healthcare mobile nurses? I've noticed that there's a move for our community to be in that space as well. Is there any way to connect? When I think about what we're doing here, and we have a lot of great initiatives, it would be nice to definitely connect the insurance piece to our doctors, our local community providers, and have one major directory where all of that exists. Is there any way, do you think there's any way we could think about doing that or have that on the agenda to address?
So I'm definitely open to, you know, everybody, you know, kind of researching. Unfortunately, what I've found is that many, you know, and Dr. Boyce talks about this a lot too, as far as what we think is Black owned or we think is for the Black community, or, you know, but not really being fully Black controlled. And, you know, it kind of undermines the mission. What I would recommend is we start small, or we start to develop and grow small, because essentially what health shares are, when done in the correct way, you're going directly against health insurances. You're taking money out of their pocket. And, you know, that's pretty much like low-key waging war. I don't know too much about Black doctors, you know, .org. You know, we can definitely find out. I'm definitely just putting it out there. You know, I'm willing to sit down and listen and talk more about this. But what I don't want to happen is to get cut off before we even get a chance to actually grow. And so a lot of information that I present right now, as far as, you know, blood pressure not being a disease, and, you know, telling the truth about diabetes and what these things really are, as far as the body adapting. On one side, I have healthcare providers who are telling me, you know, hey, you got to stop doing that. That's not, you know, you can't do that. You're not, you know, that's pretty much sitting us back. And then the other side, I have doctors who say, yeah, of course, they never said it was a disease. Yeah, of course, you know, if they don't know, then that's their problem. We never said it. And so I see that there's this dichotomy where some are kind of sitting back and, you know, just letting it happen, and the other ones are actively promoting the, you know, whether they're doing it on purpose or not, the actual downfall of the society as a whole. So I don't know if I truly answered your question, but like I said, I'm open. I'm open.
Yeah, and I believe that all this ties in, you know, to bring in what you just said, to bring in what Tamika said, and then when you incorporate the fresh vegetables being brought in, one that helps out on the fact that if I'm putting in on the insurance in for myself and for my community, I know if they're eating healthy, then it's going to be less likely that they're going to have to go to the hospital for health issues. You know, they can still get hurt and things of that nature, but that will benefit the community as a whole just by them eating properly and getting the nutrition in their body that they would need. So yeah, I see how all of this is can tie together.
And you know, again, you know, with us actually being the ones that's putting the money in, we set what the standards are and what the motivations are for the practitioners. And so if we embed into the psyche of the practitioners that nutrition, fitness, and, you know, medications, they do have a place. But instead, we over medicate every single thing that's moving. You know, it's taking over. But, you know, the primary care should be the actual nutrition and fitness, and my mindset as well too. Psychological stress plays a huge role in a lot of what we're seeing. So with us being the ones that's in charge of the actual payments, we can actually set the standards. Just like insurance right now, they set the standards. Like 15 minutes, we might reimburse you, we might not reimburse you. We'll see. Send the bill. Let's see how you. So they actually are really like directing how we are treating our patients, even though they have no kind of expertise whatsoever in it, but they have the money. So if we switch that and we now have the money, and our overall mission is to radically improve the health conditions of our community, nutrition, fitness, whole foods, farming, all those things, we will change the whole entire system.
Yep.
For ourselves.
Well, hey, that gives us something to really think about and concentrate on for and to move on for our meeting for next week. I know that Quinn had a question that he had his hand raised that he wanted to say something. So go ahead, Quinn. Unmute yourself.
All right. Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother. John, I wanted to ask, you were speaking on the USDA, and you mentioned that there was a program or something that, could you just expound on that a little bit?
Yes.
Maybe I missed it or something. I'm not.
They have several programs for upcoming farmers, for new farmers, for what do they call us again? They don't call us black farmers. Underprivileged, underserved farmers is what they call us now. So if you go looking for a minority or black, you ain't gonna find us in there. They got us in there, but they reclassified who we are. So underserved, and I from my experience, I believe that is what they do for us, is underserve us. It seems like I got to fight a lot harder when I walk in and they recognize who I am than at first. So they have quite a few programs, and they can benefit us in many ways. One, in getting loans for property. You can get loans through the USDA, basically almost at 1%. You can get equipment and things of that nature for your property, basically at anywhere from 3 to 1%. You can buy your house, your farm, all that stuff on pennies on a dollar through them. We have gotten a couple of hoop houses or high tunnels, as some people would call them, that they basically give you the money for. They give you a grant for that, and that's like anywhere from a $7,000 to $10,000 piece of equipment there. So there are quite a few. What is the area? Do you remember in the USDA? It's the equipment.
EQIP is the program. EQ.
Okay, it's the EQIP program. Just go to USDA. Look. Yeah, you can type in high tunnels. You can type in grants, farming, and a lot of that will get you to the areas. The gentlemen that I will bring on, they will also have that information to help you out and to because every time I talk to them, I try to give them some see what else is out there that I haven't picked up on. So there's quite a bit out there. Is there anything else? I think we got everybody's hands raised. So what I'm gonna do now is turn this over to Parker Lewis. For our next meeting, I will put out a thing probably next Monday as to what we will be looking at it from our poll that we took this past week. It looks like everybody, or for the majority of people, were for Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So that's what we're going to try to do. If needed, we will try to mix up days and stuff if we have extra stuff that we need to do. So With that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Parker Lewis at the end of his presentation. Feel free to ask any question. Parker, you ready? All right. Take it off of mute. You're on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you all participating this evening. I actually took notes myself, and I see a number of veins that everyone's kind of, circling around. And it is very interesting, but I actually carry around with me a list of USDA farm loans. And I myself, in some of the farm operations that I've, been associated with, have, used NRCS funds, which is a subdivision of the USDA to build high tunnels, put in solid state irrigation systems. I literally did that, on about 2.5 acres here in Georgia. My footprint spans from Texas all the way to Georgia. I'm actually trying to create a circuit along I-20 to 45 to 10. Hadn't really figured out where, because I would like to hit the coast somewhere between Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. But that just doesn't add up the way I would like it to there on the East Coast. But I'm going to figure that out as time moves on. So just to kind of, reiterate, I do get a little bit winded sometimes. So at any time, John, please just get me back on track. I am the Sustainability Sojourner. I coined that about 3 or 4 years ago when I looked at the fact that I noticed a lot of individuals waking up, whether it was faith-based or just I'm fed up, and moving to rural areas to start farming and developing. Many of those failed because of the lack of labor, lack of support. So as I was traveling more so to educate myself, on 2 things, specifically building the infrastructure itself, as well as farming and growing food in a sustainable way, I started looking at how could I, move this into something that's more readily available. So Sustainability Sojourner was born, and what it is an educative system. It is a student, teacher-student relationship where everyone is a student, everyone's a teacher, because everyone has something to offer. Even if it is, as a number of our sisters, stated, listen, support, connecting. Those things that are things that we have to be taught today. We have to learn how to do those things because we've been taught how not to do them, and I believe intentionally, so that we aren't able to, come together, build, and develop community. The roots of community is common unities, and that's why, even though John was like, this might be unconventional, I was like, but it's exactly what we need. We need to see where, we line up. This past few months, I'd say up until about October, I was in Colorado in an intentional Black operated medicinal purposed grow operation. I helped build the Walapini, which is an in-ground greenhouse, and the one-room schoolhouse. This idea came from a brother by the name of Curtis Muhammad. Now, he literally sat in the jails of Macomb for sitting at, the lunch counters. He was raised and developed and taught by the late Miss Ella Baker in what is called a circle meeting. And something that just came to me, John, but I think it's kind of what you're doing, but it would be more intentional by setting at least the onset of the meeting with the question, and then a time period that everyone is, forced to adhere to by the moderator, muting them on that, limit. This allows everyone to get their voice heard, and everyone is speaking towards the question and not in response to other people's, agreement or disagreement of their ideas. So I know many of you are probably more interested in, the presentation, which was about cryptocurrency. I see it as a vehicle. It's not an end all, and that's simply because my value system is set differently than most. I value 3 things over any type of currency, including gold and silver. Those things are time, because we all have the exact same amount, but how one uses theirs in comparison to how another uses theirs is what determines the character of a man or woman. Then you also have knowledge itself, because knowledge is something in its sharing, it grows in value exponentially, mainly because no matter how much I share it, no matter how much I give it away, I do not diminish in it. And as others give that same knowledge, that's why it continues to grow. We have influence over the control and development and utilization of that knowledge based on that. And to me, that's where we get into educating and growing individuals into wisdom and being able to use those means. The most important, most valuable, and I believe everyone has some aspect of that on their list right now, is positive, productive relationships. That is the most valuable thing to me in this world. I am intentional on seeing where I cannot develop a positive, productive relationship and allowing that to not hinder me in developing positive, productive relationships. I focus on those relationships that are going in the same direction that, you know, I've been placed on. And by doing so, I'm able to provide my services being, you know, labor of love, labor of service, as well as, you know, my knowledge, again, more valuable than a dollar. And in all this sharing, you know, I see the benefits to my immediate community. And that's why I would like to see, and that's why I stated, I would like to see us being able to develop processes that I would say almost like what I heard John May saying in a way, almost like creating templates, creating, you know, the step-by-steps education system that we can easily, you know, share with one another, come in and do something that leaves a lasting legacy within that location and continue moving. So back to the cryptocurrency, where I see it being a benefit. The people that I see on this call right now is the 1% of the 1%. I want to reach, you know, the 99%, of course, but to get there, I believe we would have to determine, you know, these steps, these constructs to deliver that to them. Most of the 99% will not be able to hear those three things more valuable than a dollar. Because at the end of me saying that to so many, they're like, okay, I hear that, but, you know, I got to go to this job to work for someone else to promote and build up and develop their house so that I can, quote unquote, survive, because that's all I understand and can see, rather than actually going and work this land for it to build and develop, you know, a legacy for my children's children, which is my goal. I'm trying to develop an inheritance for my children's children. And I think that's one of the most important things that a man can determine to do, because it shows longevity and legacy rather than, oh, I'm just trying to make sure I leave something to my children. If I haven't left the knowledge and understanding to my children, first of all, that they have a similar mindset, then they won't continue in developing, you know, for my grandchildren. And so that's first and foremost on my mind when I'm thinking about why I'm even dealing in cryptocurrency, because it's not for me. It's for me to figure out how to use someone else's vehicle to bring my people back closer to me, back closer to, you know, the areas and the places and the lands that I'm already, you know, trying to develop for, you know, that next generation. Because when I say my children's children, I'm not just talking about my son and my daughter's children. I'm talking about my son's wife's children. You know, you know, the fact that the community exponentially grows as, you know, generations go on, and to create something that is multi-generational and hundreds, if not thousands of years strong, just like the system that we're stuck in right now. And we're stuck in it by choice because we choose to not do something differently. But as we determine to do something differently and determine to work together in doing that different thing, I believe in persistency will deliver the goal. I don't believe failure is something that is automatic. I believe failure comes from, you know, quitting. Failure comes from not continuing on and persevering. So I've been working with a number of different groups over the past year. One, the Ledge Group, it is a hemp initiative. And so it is about growing hemp for the purpose of developing products, our everyday staples, needs, and uses that we can, you know, first provide to ourselves, but then capitalize on the external communities through that as an economic vehicle. So how does this cryptocurrency, phenomenon like really help us leverage that? Well, I've had the privilege of, through the Ledge Group, having gotten into another group that focused on cryptocurrency for the support and development of finances for the Ledge Group. And it started out with just, stocks and so forth. But as people started to see the crypto craze start to ramp up, they started looking into that. And we were fortunate enough to have gotten an inside track on the Gunbot. A Gunbot is a cryptocurrency bot that does auto trading. There's a number of different tried and proven techniques that day and swing traders use that have been programmed into this bot, and it does this over a number of different platforms. So in regards to the value, it's something that I started with $50 9 months ago, and it took 8 of those months for it to get to about $500. I never really looked at the numbers as far as what how long it took for it to double each time. But at that $500 mark is when I did start counting days, and it took 10 days for it to get from $500 to $1,000. And a lot of it has to do with how the algorithm is written for diversification, that it doesn't allow you to get overburdened on one token. But what that means is generally you aren't able to have a whole bunch of trades going on at one time when you don't have a lot of value in Bitcoin. So as it got to that 0.05 at the time, well, it was less than that, but again, it got to a point where in 10 days it doubled. And my excitement with that is why I promote it as something that can be used as a group economic vehicle for anyone who purchases it in a number of different ways. One being just simply being able to return any amount of percentage, in 30 days to anyone who wants to loan their money to you. And if you put your own money in first and allow it to grow, then you can definitely guarantee, certain amounts based on you already have it in reserve. But it allows that money to grow as well. So there are a number of different, strategies that can be used with the bot, group economically, such as membership dues being put in there. This even goes to actually put it down with Edward's, speaking of the collection of people, the health share, where we could actually do our own, where those values go into the bot. And once the value that was put in the bot has doubled, then you take that value out, and then everything that's in the bot, whether it's gained or lost at that point, is basically a storage of wealth that wasn't there before, and the intended investment or the intended membership dues or whatever it is can then be utilized for an additional intention. And again, there's a number of different group economic ways of using it, but in general, just one who would want to use it how I've determined that I'm going to use it are those two in regards to an internal type system. But externally, I would say just doing as a lot of the other, companies and throughout the world are doing right now, and that's just creating websites that allow lending and trading and buying and selling of these coins. And as long as when they put the funds into your system, it's actually going into your bot, so you're actually growing other people's money for your benefit. And when they take it out, they take it out, but they're only getting what they put in. With the exception of if you actually do an exchange platform where you're actually keeping track of the markets themselves and allowing that to occur. With all that, of course, comes a lot of stuff that I'm not willing to do. So I'm actually working with a couple other organizations to see that happen. So as of right now, as far as what I would like to say in regards to what I'm doing the beginning of this year, other than planning for hemp, bamboo, and fruit trees and bushes. That's going to be my focus this year as far as agricultural goes. And that's mainly because I have a large footprint with no one to work any of these areas except for Georgia, where I am a member of a farm in Wrightsville, local lands, as well as an extension that we have here in Atlanta, which is, is basically a lettuce grow operation in the city. 5 greenhouses, and it's something that we would like to see more support and more development on. I definitely would, because I would like to propagate my fruit trees and things of that nature from there, so that wherever I go, I try to at least bring seeds, but I would like to get to where I have the capacity to transport these fruit trees as well as materials for building greenhouses, jalapeno specifically. Simply because that's 6 to 9 feet dug into the ground, to where you can create a microclimate warm enough to keep any type of fruit tree growing, and it has the space to actually grow. And that's what I would like to do. Put those on your properties. Allow for wholesome, holistic, and intentional development, for us and by us. Does anyone have any questions? I know I kind of jumped around through all the different things, and trust me, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And I do want to sit and share all of this with everyone, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity, because trust me, I'm willing to travel almost anywhere. I don't like the North too much. I'm not a cold-natured individual. Georgia is too cold for me. I'm from Texas, so I definitely have a warm-blooded disposition, but I'm willing to go anywhere to help my brothers and sisters develop their vision, specifically in self-sustainable means. In regards to that, I've been doing renewable energy since I was about 12, and that includes wind and hydro, not just solar. So I can answer questions, and I can start.
Well, let me have an opportunity to try to sum up at least what I feel that you're presenting. You're on the crypto end of it, presenting I guess you call it a bot that will help us to invest, or do we invest? I'm trying to connect exactly what it is that you're asking us to do with the crypto.
Okay, well, so in regards to the bot, I see the bot as being a beneficial vehicle for the group, as a financial aside, something that can be used to, whether it's just a percentage, if this group gets to where there is resource sharing, and especially in fiat currencies. If it gets to that point, then this is like something that can help grow and multiply whatever percentage, because I wouldn't think to put a hole into it, but whatever percentage of any donations, any intentional requests, just like the loan idea is something where each member of the group would simply put it on their page that, I can, anyone wanting to lend me X amount of dollars, I can return X percent with that in X days. Presented to, whether it's 1 month or
is this a guarantee, or is this
Well, I mean, I can have print out it and send to you, the trades that were done with my bot, at least for the last month that I had it up and running. I didn't run it through the month of December after I hit that goal, because I was actually doing tests for the developer. So it is one of those, and by the way, I went to Georgia Tech for computer and electrical engineering, so this wasn't just something that I would, lay in this. This is, I know a little something.
We got so much in common. I started when I first got out of high school. I went for electrical engineering, so we got quite a bit in common here. So just in a brief explanation, if there's anyone that's interested, what do they have to do?
Well, if anyone is interested, please contact me through, Facebook. That'll be the easiest way for me to get you licensed. And if this is something that the group as a whole would like to see, or a number of people would like to see created for a vehicle created for the group to leverage, group economics, because I don't think many people really understand what group economics means. The word economics itself is a life system. It means literally life cycle systems. So when you think about how you were taught the first life cycle system, that's your family, that's your home life. That was your mom giving you chores.
Right.
You get to school and they teach you home economics, and yet I know I wasn't taught how to even balance a checkbook. So the fact that we now as adults, revert to only seeing economics as financial, kind of tells us that we've been indoctrinated into this position. And until we correct that, we might not even see or hear why I'm saying, hey, this is something that for me, it sets and forgets my fiscal or financial, which financial also means ransom, by the way. My financial economic system is so I can push it off the table of my worries and my cares and my thought process. I now focus on my, growing economics, my social economics, my health economics, my farming economics, my every other type of economics. So that's what I believe this could do for the group, is allow us to see where those resources are taken care of. And there's all types of different agreements that can be made around it. But to start out, it would just be, is this something anyone's interested in?
Well, before I can make a decision, I would definitely need to see some more information. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. I'm been into everything else, but the crypto is something that is new to me, and so I'm just now starting to look into it to kind of get a concept of how I can utilize this with what we're trying to do here. So when you start talking about bots, I'm an old man. I'm well past 50 right now. So although when I first started into electrical engineering and robotics, we envisioned back in the early 80s, that by now we will be flying in cars and stuff like that. But so with the bots and stuff, I understand what they're talking about. I just have to wrap my mind around what it is that they can do and how they can utilize it. I will be interested to get some more information. Does anybody else have any questions? Now, if you do, you just unmute your thing and say something or raise your hand. John Mace, you got anything? Okay.
Actually, I do want to say something. Is one of the things that I've been seeing in the news a lot is, have you heard of Beyond Meat?
Parker, you say no?
No, I haven't heard of Beyond Meat.
Okay, well, it's this, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe like Leonardo DiCaprio and like Bill Gates have invested a bunch of money into it. But basically, it's like this new company that they're into plant-based meats. So they use like beef, or not beef, they use like beets and other vegetables to make a meat substitute. And I'm almost positive too that the company is publicly traded. And what has happened is they signed a deal with Kroger's, so now they're in a lot of I think it was like 400 Kroger's or something like that. And now recently they just signed a deal with TGI Fridays, and so it's like a really expanding business right now. And I think that as far as like investing and stuff like that, that really interests me. But I'm also curious too is about the sustainability of, you know, having to grow all those vegetables to suffice like that amount of demand.
Yeah, now you bring up a good point about the demand of vegetables and things of that nature. And I'll share this real quick and brief story. Years ago, my wife's uncle, he grew watermelon. He had a field, and he would sell them by the semi-truckloads daily. And his was so sought after that Walmart came and asking to sell to them, which he was selling to other stores at the time. And he agreed to, or he was in the process of agreeing to, but then their demands were so high. One, they wanted certain size, certain quantity. He had to have at least 4 or 5 semi-truckloads each day for 30 days or something like that, which was more than what he produced. And their thing was that if they saw more than, you know, out of a truckload of, we'll say 1,000, if they saw more than 10 or so watermelons that they disliked, then they could ship the whole thing back, and you would have to replenish that load. So that, you know, when you start dealing with the stores on that type of level, it can become very tricky and very burdensome and unprofitable. One, they want to Jew you down to the least amount, and I hope I didn't offend anybody by saying Jew you down. I'm old school, so I still talk old school ways. But the thing is that we got to watch out for that. So, but I take it in the question of with Parker Lewis, I take it that you didn't have any questions about what he was talking about. And I see Edward has his hand up. So go ahead, Edward.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, so I'm finally home now. As far as what Lewis is presenting, you know, I'm interested if is there any way you can kind of present some more information? You know, I'm just the type of person where I'm down for the support. I understand that finance is a huge part of a support. If you can't finance your movement, it's dead. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. So is there a way that you can kind of give me some more information, or maybe do a presentation? I don't want to take up too much of your time. I mean, not right now, but, you know, just something else I can kind of look at and investigate more and, you know, make informed decisions from there.
Definitely. I generally don't, you know, offer any information on it, because really I'm not selling the bot. I'm selling myself. I'm selling the idea. I'm selling, look, this is what I can verify I've already done. And so if that's not enough as far as the backing of what you're investing in, then it might not be for you. But this is different. Like this environment, generally this is a one-on-one conversation that I'm having. But this is more about a vision that I believe in. And so in this case, yes, I'm more than willing to, you know, show you, okay, this is what I do, how it operates. And the reality about cryptocurrency is it is a very tedious thing. Like I'm a broke millionaire right now simply because I don't have the secret key to the 2 Bitcoin that I bought when they were like $10, $20. Like just that simple. Like that's how plugged into technology I was back then. Like, yeah, I was there, and it was like, okay, whatever, you know, that's nothing. Yeah, but I don't have the key. And that's something that even in the past, month has gotten a number of people that I know where they've been locked out and weren't able to get back in. So it is a technically, heavy, thing to for anyone to get into. The reason why I support, the bot idea is because other than those platforms that you have to have keys for, it's not like without the bot where you have to go into every single coin. Like there's thousands of them now, but you have to go to each one, create wallets for each one. You have to keep all that information, to really get a trading, going on with it. Whereas with the bot, it's because it's on that platform and it creates all the addresses within a single platform, such as Poloniex or Kraken, or it creates those addresses on the platform for the exchanges to occur. And I have someone who does the licensing, who's also a melanated individual. But the bot was developed by a dude named Gunther. And for anyone who wants to look at, its, information, its papers and so forth, it's gunthy.org or gunthy.com. I'll put the URL in the Facebook group, okay. And you can go and look at what the developer has created and put out in regards to what the bot is, how it works, things of that nature. I would just ask that if someone within the group, because it's only about 30 some people, want to get a bot, they actually go through, us as being the resellers. Just because, that's what integrity is about, in my opinion. Outside of that, and that's mainly the reason why I hadn't shared it, because I share it with mixed company generally. And, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, I'd rather pay the developer the whole bit rather than us already having an agreement with the developer to where he's getting what he gets, so he gives, to those who actually does the marketing for him. So that would be my only request, is that if you are interested after looking through all the information that I provide, that, you come back to the source that you got it from to get the bot. And it's still the same price. It's not like the price is different. It's just by us doing the licensing, he gives us a cut of that 0.1 Bitcoin is the most that's being charged right now.
Yeah, I can understand that. Does anybody else have anything to say? Camilla, she wrote that perhaps you could do a share screen on Zoom to walk us through the platform that you're referring to. And so if you get to that point to where you can do something like that, I would be more than happy to set it up through Zoom for you. I have an account there that I use weekly. So if you would like to do something like that, I'll be more than happy to work with you on setting something up like that, or at least giving you the platform to do it. And maybe, like I said, I hear what you're saying. I'm just not understanding how it works. And so once I can get an understanding as to, what is this actually going to do? What can I look for? Then I can make a more informed decision as to what direction I would want to go in. So.
Well, this is definitely what I'll do. I'll be putting the links to the information in Facebook group tonight. Anyone who is interested in at least seriously looking at this, especially in regards to doing it as a group, pulling the funds together to put 0.1 Bitcoin into purchasing the bot. And the reason why I was doing that is because it's 75% off until the 6th. And that was kind of the reason why I was pushing to do this earlier than later. But I'm not a salesperson. Like, I can't even sell myself. As much as I do, I'm not, that great at, hey, yeah, but I see the value in trying to use it group economically outside of just fiscal and financial economics. I'm using this to allow us to put more energy, more focus, more time into, our other economic systems that clearly there's two here that everyone's on the same page with, and that's, of course, farming and health. Those are economic systems in and of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want us to, really start to champion. And I'm an educator, I'd rather, inform as much as I can on everything. But I need to learn how to do that a little bit better. So thanks for the opportunity in this venue. And hopefully, after I present that information, if you have any questions or want to move on getting that particular structure, because it's the full package where you have 6 different platforms, so you can allocate, okay, we are using this one to do this, we're using that one to do that, as far as where funds are going, so that they are segregated, whether it's a healthcare fund, whether it's a employ us fund, that's another one that I have, and that's a whole nother discussion, actually. So I'll save that till later if that's something people are interested in.
Yeah. You said something that was interesting. And like I said, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it right now. But, even if we worked with on the concept that Edward presented earlier about pulling money together in an insurance type thing, if there was a way that we could utilize that money and help it to grow, that would be great also. Not saying that that's what we should do right off the bat, but I mean, if we got to the point to where we had excess of capital just sitting there, it might be to our advantage to think of ways of letting that money also work to our advantage. So, like I said, I'm game to get more information on it. I'm just not at a position right now to where I can say yes, definitely. Right now, I'm so that you the man that if I go into it, you will be the man I will go into it with. So, but
yeah,
I just need a little more information.
Not a problem. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and put that up. The links that I have to all that information, and if you have any questions, I'm pretty much available 24/7. So just reach out to. Oh, and by the way, my name given to me by my mother, I'm a junior, is Rollin Lewis Thrift Jr. But Facebook wanted, documentation and stuff. So that just,
I understand.
I won't. So just so everybody knows, Parker Lewis is just a moniker. My name is Rollin, though.
Rollin? Okay. All right. I'll call you Geechee Dan if that's all right.
Respect, much respect.
Where you from? Rollin?
Originally Texas. I was born in Houston, all over Texas, but like I said, my footprint, I actually have and operate property between Texas and Georgia, and I also have property in Oregon down to about Sacramento. But yeah, it doesn't mean anything if I can't, develop the labor pool that I'm looking for to actually create this education system that I'm thinking of. It is a traveling education system to help develop sustainability on every Black farmer and Black communities, property, because that's what we need. So.
All right. Well, I'm like I said, I'm interested in hearing about that also. So, but with respect to everybody's time, unless anybody else has anything that they would like to add, I would just say good evening. And hey, I'm looking forward to next week, next Thursday, when we get together once again and we will move forward. So with that, I will say good night. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. And I forgot you. Yeah, Rollin.
Rollin.
I'm going to have to write that down. And thank you, Edward, for everything you've done. John, Camelia, Gabrielle, Leslie, and anybody else that was on. Thank you guys for showing up. And this is recorded this time, so I will try to get that out. All right. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, everybody. Peace.
Thanks. Peace.